super excited today to be joined by Jennie. Welcome, Jennie.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
I am too. I think that between you and I, we should be able to definitely have some fun today.
Oh, yes. But fun is like my middle name.
Now I want fun to be my middle name.
Right?
If I hadn't already gotten married and changed my name once.
I know.
No, I laugh sometimes because if I knew where I would be today, I would not have changed my name when I got married. My last name was Beaver. And I'm like, that would have been an amazing, like my mascot would be a beaver, all my jokes. I mean, I'm used to all of the jokes. I'm like, I'm not going to tell my husband. Sometimes I'm still like, man, Tiffanie Beaver, that would make some really cool stuff.
Right? Oh my gosh. Well, the fun fact about me is that my maiden name is McCarthy. So I grew up as Jennie McCarthy, which was not a big deal until the mid 90s. And then all of a sudden, another Jennie McCarthy got famous and just made my life interesting. We'll put it that way for a few years. And then I got married and the jokes stopped because people did not know my maiden name anymore. But I still have boyfriends from high school, ex-boyfriends from high school and college who love telling people that they dated Jennie McCarthy. It's really kind of fun. So
were you a 90210 fan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah. No, I loved 90210. The it was one of the few shows that I knew when it was on. You know what? Like, because with the ADHD part of my brain when I was younger, which I didn't fully understand because back then in the 90s, we didn't understand ADHD.
Right.
We have a much better understanding of it now 30 years later. Surprise, surprise. But that was the one TV show that it was the first TV show, I'll say, the first TV show that I was like, "Oh no, I knew what night it was on, what time it was on, and I planned my week, my homework and all of that stuff, making sure my homework was done so I could watch the show around that one because it was on when I was a teenager. I mean, they were a little bit older than I was by a couple of years. So when they graduated high school and went on to college, I was still in high school. So I was like, oh, this is a preview of what it's going to be like, except I was in the Midwest and they were in California.
And I'm having flashbacks. I remember we would watch it. So when we were in college, we would watch 90210 as we were getting ready to go to the club because you didn't go to the club till like 10 or 11, which
right.
I'm an early bird. I'm like, can we go earlier? No, because nobody's there. You don't go till late.
Yeah.
But I remember doing that, and we went for school in between our junior and senior year, which was when the last season of 90210 was on. We were going to be overseas for a couple of weeks. So I set I programmed my VCR. I had it set to go. And I didn't realize the last episode was going to be a 2-hour episode. So I got the first hour and not the final hour of all of this after all of these years. And it's not like nowadays where you can easily go back and watch that stuff. It was like, and you can easily go online and say, what did I miss?
Right.
It's like, yeah, no, I just missed the last hour of the entire thing.
Yeah, you just have to ask all your friends, like, did anybody record this? Like, yeah, no, I remember that. Oh God, speaking of videotaping stuff, the one time I honestly almost killed my brother was when he videotaped over one of my favorite movies of all time, because I'm one of those people who loves Hocus Pocus. And, back in the day, Hocus Pocus was like, it bombed in the theaters. Bombed. And so Disney didn't even put out the video at the time.
Oh,
like you couldn't get it on. Yeah, because they were like, who wants it? Nobody paid to see it in the movie theater, so we're not going to put it on VHS yet. And so when they were playing it on their channel, I programmed my VCR, I recorded it, I had it. Well, I made the mistake of leaving that tape at home, and because I was gone off at college, and I came home and I went to go watch the movie because I was like, "Ooh, I'm home. Yes." And it was a bunch of country music videos from CMT. And my brother was really into country back then. And I went to my mother and I said, you need to talk to your son because I'm going to kill him. If I talk to him, I'm going to kill your son. It was not my brother. He was now her son.
No relation to me.
Your fault. Like, yeah. 100%. I was like, no. So yeah, that was it. I'm so glad that's not as much of an issue now. I'm sure there's probably instances where things like that happen, but
nowadays it's pretty easy to find most stuff. Though I did recently find, I was trying to watch the Shining miniseries. You can't stream that anywhere.
Oh, so you have to buy it.
I actually had to buy, it's like a 3-disc set. I actually had to buy it in order, because we just recently went to Denver and we stayed at the hotel that inspired The Shining. So like I was actually in the elevator. I was up at the staircase. You know, we got to be there and be a part of that. And so I was like, I wanted to watch the miniseries because I had never seen it. We're all familiar with the one with Jack
Nicklaus, yeah.
And I'm a huge Stephen King person, so I was
gotcha. No, I visited that hotel. I don't remember being in it for very long, and we didn't stay there, but one of my friends lived in Colorado for a while, and when I went out to visit him, he was like, "We have to go to the hotel." Yeah, and I'm like, "What do you mean the hotel?" And then because I don't think I had even seen The Shining at that point. And so then of course we had to go back and rent the tape because yes, this was back in the day of Blockbuster, and you know, luckily they had it, and so I was able to finally see The Shining and be like, "Oh, that's the hotel we were at." And he's like, "Right." Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. But oh gosh.
All right. Well, as we're going, so we're just having fun, y'all. There is no script to this. We are just seeing where we're going. If you're watching this and you have questions or comments that you want, please feel free to leave them Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Though I will tell you, if you are on Facebook, either A, put your name in the message so then I can pop it and see it. Otherwise, you need to go to chat.restream.io/FB. It's there on the screen because it won't tell me your name. I don't know why. Like you just have, I mean, I guess I know why, because Facebook doesn't want it to get crazy. So you have to approve it or just put your name in the comments. So if you have any questions or comments, please drop those in. But Jennie, so you mentioned the Midwest. Are you still in the Midwest?
Oh, yes. I have lived in the St. Louis area since 1993. Okay. So you know, technically I'm in southern Illinois, about 20 minutes from downtown St. Louis. But I love being here because the Midwestern people are fantastic. I grew up in the Midwest. I technically grew up in the Air Force, meaning literally all over. And so when I hit adulthood, I was like, okay, I can live anywhere. Where do I want to be? And I was like, I really like it here in St. Louis. The people are good. The place is good. You know, I can hop on an airplane and be to any one of the 48 continental states in 5 hours or less.
Nice.
So, you know, it's fantastic. You know, I can be to Mexico in 3 hours, you know, by plane. So we have options. So I really like it. It's very affordable to be here and the people are great.
So if I'm coming to St. Louis for a day, what's like 1 or 2 things that must do?
Oh,
I know that's so hard.
I know. It's so hard. I guess it really depends on what you like, right? So I just had a friend of mine come and visit from Canada, and she loves animals and zoos and things like that. So I took her to our zoo. Our zoo is top rated. I mean, it's always in the top 5 of all zoos in the United States. And what's awesome about it is it's free.
What?
You just, free zoo. You pay for parking, but you can literally just walk into the zoo. No ticket necessary. It is a free zoo. And it is, you know, so a lot of people then assume, well, it's free, so it can't be that good. But like I said, it's top ranked and it's always in the top 5. I mean, even up against San Diego, Washington, D.C. I hear good things about like the Atlanta Zoo, but St. Louis is always in the top 5. So, and I've been to other zoos. You just mentioned going to Denver. I went to the Denver Zoo a couple of years ago. It was good, but I'm biased. So the St. Louis Zoo is fantastic. If you're into sports, you know, we've got Busch Stadium. We have, you know, so going to see a Cardinals game, if they're playing, absolutely worth it. If you like history, we have a history museum that is, again, free.
Nice.
So anything located in Forest Park, our art museum, the zoo, and the Natural History Museum are all free. So you can just walk in the doors, no ticket necessary unless you want to see like a special exhibit. Then they can charge for that, but
Right.
there's a whole story for that. And of course, as long as you're not claustrophobic, go to the top of the arch. And the reason I say, as long as you're not claustrophobic, is because the little elevator that they take you up in is not an elevator. It's egg-shaped and it fits 5 people, but they built it back in the 60s. So it fits people who were that size in the 60s. So really it fits 3 Americans nowadays compared to the 5 seats that are in there, because no. But if you're not claustrophobic and you're okay with going up, and if you actually see the shape of the arch elevator, do you remember those pantyhose eggs?
Yeah.
It's just like that, but there's like 6 or 7 of them in a row, and it's like a little train, and it goes up and over and up. Like you can literally feel it go up and over and up and over to get you to the top. And then you can look out the window on both sides and be able to see all the way over into Illinois for about 10, 15 miles on a really clear day. You can look on the other side and look into downtown St. Louis. You can literally watch a baseball game from the arch because you can look directly down in. They intentionally built the stadium so that people in the stadium can see the arch and people who are in the arch can see inside the stadium. So it's just a really cool experience. It's bigger than you think.
Okay.
When you see the arch in person. It was interesting when about 20 something years ago, I got to go see Lady Liberty in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And because my frame of reference is the arch, she looked so small. She looked tiny. And so anybody who's ever seen, Statue of Liberty, they're like, oh yeah, she's a good size. I'm like, yeah, wait till you see the arch.
What's the difference between the two? Do you have any idea?
I know that the arch it's a perfect parabola, meaning it's as tall as it is wide.
Okay.
And I believe it is 632 feet or 638 or yeah. So huge, like a 60-story building, right? And Lady Liberty is like 150, which again, she's the size of a 15-ish story building, right?
Yeah.
So the arch is like 5 times, 6 times bigger. So and you don't really fully comprehend it until you have seen both of them in person. You go, oh, I mean, she is impressive. She is beautiful. She is lovely. And the arch, you just look at it and go, oh my gosh. It just keeps going, especially if you're standing at one of because you can literally walk up and touch it.
Yeah.
You can take pictures right next to one of the feet of the legs. And so, yeah. So, but there are so many other things to see in St. Louis. We have a city museum with a bus hanging off of the roof. I like to intrigue people with that. Yes, a real full-size bus hanging off of the roof of the city museum.
All right.
Yeah. Quirky as hell, just like St. Louisans.
Sounds like somewhere that I need to visit. I'm all about those quirky places.
Oh, if you like quirky, I'll take you to all the quirkies.
Okay, all right, quirky. Yeah, I'm all about the quirky stuff. So speaking of stuff, we are here today to talk about fun, but we also want to talk about you and what you do. So give us your kind of, why does Jennie do? What does she do? Who does she do it for? Just give us kind of a little overview about you and what you do in your business.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So my business is Badass Direct Sales Mastery. So I work with network marketers, direct sales representatives, and MLM professionals, especially those who are top 10 leaders, helping them to empower their team members to improve their sales, grow their teams, and become better leaders themselves. So that's what I do in a nutshell. So I have a podcast by the same name, Badass Direct Sales Mastery. So yeah, that's what I do. I mean,
so when
could
people
verbally vomit forever.
Yeah. When people come to work with you, what would you say is, the 1 or 2 outcomes that they're typically achieving thanks to spending time in your realm?
Ooh, that's a good one. So the ones that my clients are usually the most surprised with is how quickly their team grows. Because a lot of them, when they come to me, may be having issues with um, sponsoring people to their own team themselves, but then especially if they already have a team, they haven't figured out how to teach their team how to do what they do. So
Yeah.
when they bring me on, what we're able to do is then help not only the leader learn their own process and understand, how to find those right fit team members rather than trying to make the offer to everybody, and basically, instead of the shotgun approach, more of a sniper style is the best way I know how to
Focus,
explain
yeah.
it. Right, because yes, the opportunity is open for everyone, but we don't want everyone. It's because when you ask for everyone, you get everyone, including what I call the PETAs, the pain in the
Uh-huh.
uh,
I mean, you say you do say badass marketing, so I think
do.
we're okay with saying pain in the ass.
Yeah, but you do end up, because if you're not super focused on who your ideal team member is and who you want to work with and how to identify that person, because we don't walk around with neon signs over our head saying, I'm a self-starter. Right? I'm highly
No,
motivated. I'm
yeah,
a high achiever, which is, of course, are all three things that most network marketers want, those kind of people on their team. We don't have that neon sign. We don't have it tattooed on our forehead. So how do you identify those people in your daily life? How do you see what they're doing? How do you identify those behaviors that show you
mm.
who those people are? Because you come from the world of BNI, Hazel Walker. People
Yes,
right? People are rarely what they say, but they are almost always what they do, right? And so I this works in network marketing too. So if someone wants to have a highly successful team, finding those self-starters, highly motivated, high achieving people to be on your team, or at bare minimum, those who are coachable, who also implement. Right? And so
yeah,
how do you find those people? And so that's what I work with my coaching clients on, is what are those behaviors you're looking for? And then what do you say so that they at least listen to the opportunity?
yeah. And so here's an interesting question I want to ask. But before I do that, you mentioned BNI, and we have Andreo, I believe.
Adriano.
Adriano. So he's watching us here on LinkedIn. Hey, glad to have you. He says you are a fantastic person and a tremendous businesswoman. He's proud to have you as a BNI colleague, and even more so to have met her and her husband in Las Vegas. So,
Yes.
oh yeah, because
Yes.
conference was in Vegas this past year.
It was. And so Adriano and I are part of a group called the Global Power Team, which
Oh
I
yeah,
invited you to come check
I was
out
there
a
this
couple
week.
weeks ago. Yeah, exactly.
Was that
Um,
that was this Monday, wasn't it? My gosh, that seems like a long time ago. It was Monday.
It was Monday, you're right. Okay, yeah, so I know. Oh, it's amazing how quickly 5 days passes, right?
Yeah.
But I met Adriano through, the Global Power Team, which, it's interesting because BNI talks about being a global and international networking organization and referral organization, and until I was introduced to the Global Power Team, I wasn't fully leveraging the international aspect of my membership, and it has really just added. And Adriano is I'm going to throw it right back at him. He is a PR person above and beyond in Brazil. So anybody who's watching and listening and needs some eyeballs on their business in Brazil and in South America, talk to Adriano. He knows how to do it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, Adriano, for interacting and commenting and telling us. I'm super excited to have you. And we're here again, y'all. Friday fun. If you can't tell, we like to have fun. And it's just a casual conversation. And we do often put, some business into it. So I'm interested to hear, because I've met more than one person at a networking event, and they're like, oh, somebody else from an MLM. Like
Mhm.
MLM is a bad, 3-letter word. It's like I'm assuming because you work with MLMs and making things better that you like them. And why should people not discount MLMs as real businesses?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So first of all, business is business is business. I don't care how you get paid, right? So those who are in network marketing, direct sales, and MLM, and I'm just going to let people know those are 3 different categories within the same industry, and they have different compensation structures, which is why they are different terms, because it's how they get paid. But honestly, when it comes down to it, they are just as much entrepreneurs as the rest of the world who are going the more, and I'm going to put air quotes around this, traditional route. The difference is they didn't have to invest money in the website development piece. They didn't have to go find a manufacturer for their product. It's already been tested, manufactured, you know, it's got all the product focus groups that they've done, so they know all the things about how to, that's already taken care of for them. They are literally just sales representatives for a company that is not investing in traditional advertising. They're using word of mouth. Right? That's the difference, right? So that is why the products can be of a higher quality. Because they're not taking that money and turning around and putting it into Facebook ads, Google ads, TV advertisements, radio advertisements, anything like that. They're not paying for any of that. They're taking that money instead and investing it in the people who are going out and using the product and being walking billboards for the product, whatever that may be. So the reps are doing the marketing piece. So, that it's not a bad word. Now, I don't want to say that there aren't bad companies, because all right, yes, there are some companies that are a little on the right. But that's also true in other businesses.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, think back to 2008, 2009. How did we all feel about mortgage and financial companies back then?
Yeah.
We were all a little perturbed because y'all just screwed up our entire economy for the entire freaking world.
And you know what's so funny about that?
Yeah.
Is it happens every 20 to 30 years. It's not like we don't know what's coming.
Right. Exactly. And here's the thing. There's not one direct sales, network marketing, or MLM company who effed up the entire global economy. Not one. And yet someone goes, "Oh, you're a mortgage lender. That's so nice." But if they meet someone in MLM, they're like, get me some garlic, a cross, anything to keep those MLM people away. And unfortunately, the problem comes because of how those people were trained to have a sales conversation, or, again, like I said earlier when we were talking about the sponsoring piece, they're trying to sponsor everybody because their company says, or their upline leader says, offer the opportunity to everybody.
Right.
No. This is not how that works. Just like, I'm going to use the example of a company that is well known around the world, like AT&T, right?
Yeah.
Phone company has an opening, right? What do? They put it out there and say, "Hey, we have an opening." But then what do? They interview. They have a conversation to make sure it's a right fit. Right?
It's not just give me your money and let's
right.
Go.
Exactly. And so, I'm trying to get people to understand that that's how that works in network marketing too, and how it should be working. Because for me, part of how I got these trophies here, you see these wonderful, beautiful trophies that I got from being number 1 in the world in group recruiting and number 3 in the world for group sales, is not because I was offering the opportunity to everybody. It came because I treated my business like a business, and growing my team was just like growing a team as if I had a brick and mortar business. I had conversations with people. And if they had no interest in doing the business and they just wanted the discount, I did not offer them the opportunity. I said, you should be part of our VIP club then. You get a discount and da 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 da, right? When you treat your business like a business, right? It changes everything. And it certainly changes how people treat you as a professional in the industry.
Definitely. Really great response there. I hear so often people just disparaging, you know, the usually it's MLMs, but it can be any of the others too. And it's like, no. I'm like, do you disparage somebody if they buy a franchise? I mean, it's a very similar thing, just not as much money up front.
Exactly. And I actually had this conversation. There's a franchising expert. She's literally an attorney in the world of franchise. And I did an episode with her on my podcast talking about how MLM, network marketing, and direct sales can be like a mini franchise. But what are the differences? What are the major differences? And of course, one of them is what you already brought up, you know, the investment, $150 versus $150,000, right? Big difference, you know, to the tune of 100x, right?
Right.
But certainly there are many, you know, comparisons that can be made. Ultimately, in business, business is business. I don't care how you get paid. Ultimately, we're all looking for new customers. We're looking to retain the customers that we have, and we're looking to grow our business. And in some cases, that looks like growing a team, whether you either bring them on as 1099 independent contractors, W-2 or W-9 employees. W-9. W-2 is the tax form. Never mind. Sorry. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, because I know you've mentioned your podcast once or twice. Sure. Is your podcast really just geared towards people that are in these kind of three, you know, network marketing, direct sales, MLM, or is there value for other business owners and agents in listening?
Yeah, great question. So I've had quite a few people because of course I am in BNI. A lot of BNI members do go check out the podcast before they're, you know, recommending it and referring it to people who are in direct sales, network marketing, and MLM. And you know, the interesting thing is many of them come back to me and they go, I'm still listening. And so, you know, I've had realtors tell me this. I've had mortgage. There's a home inspector who regularly listens to my show. Hey, Will, if you're still listening, you know, so I've heard from a variety of people who have said they find it helpful because, again, sales, marketing, people, ultimately, if you're in business, you're in a people business. It's all about that. And so I do talk to a lot of network marketers about their journey, and I speak to coaches, authors, speakers. You know, you've been on the show to discuss referral marketing. I've had Ivan Meisner on. I've had Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, Bob Berg, you know, and all kinds of coaches who are experts in a variety of industries to be able to talk about different aspects. So whatever their topic of expertise is, that's what we really focus on. And yes, I will occasionally pull out a nugget and say, hey, if you know, if you're listening right now and you're part of my badass crew that's a network marketer or a direct sales, you know, professional, here's the context I want to put it in for you to take it from general business knowledge to here's how this applies to our industry specifically. But ultimately, I have a lot of people who listen to the show who aren't in the industry, but they find it very helpful. And honestly, the podcast was just nominated for the People's Choice Best Business Podcast. And so fingers crossed.
Congratulations on the nominations, and hopefully you'll be celebrating the win soon.
Yes, September 30th is when the announcement is made. That's International Podcasting Day, and they're live streaming the award ceremony then, and that's when I get to find out if we won. So fingers crossed.
So y'all, I have her website here, Badass Direct Sales Mastery. It's really easy to see the podcast button when you get there, so you can check it out. And I'm assuming it's on, you know, Apple and Libsyn and all of those things as well.
Oh yeah, whatever somebody's favorite podcast platform is, whether it's Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, I'm on Audible, Amazon Music, and YouTube. So if
Cool.
I don't put the actual video up, so you don't have to sit and watch the podcast. You can literally turn it on. So if you feel more comfortable with YouTube, if you're not into putting yet another app on your phone, but you've already got YouTube, go follow my channel, follow the playlist. You'll get a notification every time there's a new episode, about once a week.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit of fun. We talked a little bit of work. I'm ready to come back around to the fun side of things. So you talked to, we went back in the day to 90210 and Hocus Pocus, which I just watched Hocus Pocus for the first time last year. Somehow, I don't know how, that was one that I did not get till last year. We talked about fun in St. Louis. It's the weekend. You can do whatever you want. What are you going to be doing? What is it you like to do for fun?
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know that I'll be doing this weekend, but one of my favorite things to go do is karaoke. In case you couldn't tell, I love the microphone.
Do you have a go-to?
Oh, yes. Every time. I'm Just a Girl by No Doubt.
Okay.
Love that song. It is so fun.
Yeah, that's a good, lighthearted.
Yeah, everyone in the bar, especially the ladies, sing along with me. It's great because it gets people, because that's what I want, is I want to bring the vibe in the bar or the location where we are. Usually it's a bar because it's karaoke.
Yeah.
Bring that vibe up and get people, all together, singing something together. So I'm Just a Girl generally gets all the ladies singing along. So it's something all of us of a certain age know.
And if we're there at that bar to do karaoke, then there's probably other people of our age to be there and to hang out.
Exactly. Yeah. So normally karaoke is my go-to fun thing to do. I also, having kids, this weekend is kid weekend, so we've got birthday parties that we're going to and all of that fun stuff. So, yeah.
How old are your kids?
15, almost 16, and my youngest just turned 12. So, yeah,
So are you super excited for your oldest to almost be driving so they can do all the stuff, or are you super scared, like, please don't get your driver's license?
Both.
Okay.
But I think it's more, it's not that I'm scared, because I know my oldest is one of those like uber responsible, like Jordan's an old soul. Like I'm not worried about them going and making bad decisions, on purpose just to be rebellious. Jordan is definitely someone who's like, I want to follow the rules. I want to do things right. Doesn't like getting in trouble. So I can definitely see this kiddo being a very responsible driver. My apprehension around them getting their driver's license just means that, oh my God, I have a 16-year-old. I swear to God, I just brought them home from the hospital. Like, how can they possibly be old enough, big enough, responsible enough to sit behind the wheel of a car? And yet they are. So it's more about my stuff. It's more my shit than my kids.
Gotcha.
So yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, it has been a pleasure to get to spend this time with you, chatting about all kinds of amazing things. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewing audience before we wrap up?
No, ultimately, I mean, if we go back to, if there's somebody who's like, I don't try and convince people who are truly anti-MLM to get on board, because that's just a waste of my breath and their time. But people who are curious and just want to know more and see why it's an option for people. And really, I have truly seen network marketing and MLM and direct sales change people's lives. I've literally seen it save someone's life.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to hear that story, reach out to me. Happy to share that story of how MLM saved someone's life.
I love it. Yeah, maybe that'll be a conversation for us to have you back a different day. My BFF, I met her in BNI in 2005. So we're coming up on our 20-year anniversary of us being friends. Because like that's how we got to know each other. And her and her husband were the couple that we went to Denver with, like,
fun.
Total BFFs. Like we're they're the dog's godparents, all of that. But she introduced me to Pampered Chef, and I didn't cook back then. I cook a lot more now. It's been fun. she's always trying out recipes. She gets like the new products in. So it's like that twice a year we get to have that. Show me all the new products that you got in.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love Pampered Chef. Like literally. I am not exaggerating. Half my kitchen is Pampered Chef stuff.
Yeah.
And I love getting to share and it's fantastic because what's really cool about that is every time you use one of those products, you remember who you bought it from. You're like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I bought this from so-and-so." Like you can literally remember their name. And it doesn't matter if it's the kitchen product or the skincare product or whatever. Like for me, every time I use one of those products, I'm always like, "Oh my God, thank God so-and-so introduced me to such and such because I'm really happy with what I'm getting from it." Right. And I just know that I also got to help support a friend rather than
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon or Wally
World.
World.
Amazon's great.
Right. Exactly. Hello. Yeah, I have my subscribe and save for certain things because I don't get me wrong. And this doesn't have to be an either or. You can get the things that you love from one place or another. I just love the fact that when I'm buying certain things, I know it's helping a friend or a networking partner to be more successful. And what's better than that is that that personal connection to something rather than, oh, I bought it from this massive multi-country company that I have zero connection to, right? Except that I know their website.
Well, Jennie, it has been awesome getting to spend this time with you this fun Friday. I would say we definitely had some fun today. It has been a pleasure. For those of you watching, thanks so much. We will be back. As always, we're here on Tuesdays at 10:10 Eastern with someone. We've got our Fridays at 11:11. And then every Tuesday afternoon, we have our More Abundant Entrepreneur community events. Next week on September 2nd or 3rd, whichever Tuesday is, we will be having our mastermind. And keeping in the theme of fun, the group mastermind question that we're going to be asking and have answered is, how do you bring more fun into your work and to